On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Stone by Baroness, my favorite G.I. Joe villain. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it. And today we're talking about something new, both on the market and to me.
Yeah.
As a listener of music, it's the newest album from American metal band Baroness.
From Georgia.
They from Savannah, Georgia.
I love Savannah, Georgia, by the way.
Yeah, you lived there briefly, didn't you?
I lived in Decatur, Georgia, but we'd vacation in like Savannah or Tybee Island.
Okay.
Because they have this road in Savannah just called Riverwalk. It's just restaurant, bar, a gift shop, restaurant, bar, gift shop, restaurant, bar, gift shop, bar.
Nice.
You know, and you go into all of them, and by the time you get to the top of the street, you're hammered and full.
You're hammered, you're full, and you've spent a lot of money.
Right, you bought this fucking candle. What am I going to do with this?
Why did I go to all those gift shops? But yeah, they come from Savannah, Georgia, and they play kind of a mix of sludge and progressive and doom.
Yes.
And I think if anyone has ever listened to Mastodon, it's very much in that same sort of vein, same sort of genre.
Right.
They have their own unique sound for sure, but they're definitely, they are in the same sort of what I would honestly just call kind of modern heavy metal, honestly, where it doesn't lean super hard into any one particular genre. I would say if I probably like, it's easiest to call this like progressive metal of some kind in the sense that like it's, out of the various different genres that you could call it. It doesn't lean hard enough into sludge. It doesn't lean hard enough into doom.
But it borrows from all of that.
It borrows from all of it, but it it hangs it on that, a more progressive sort of songwriting style. In fact, the opening riff to the song Choir is almost note for note a Dream Theater riff. I believe from Glass Prison.
Sure.
The first song in the 12-step suite.
You don't figure they did that on purpose, do you?
I don't know. I mean, it's music. Shit happens.
Right.
Like,
there's only so many notes.
Like it's extremely similar. I listened to it and I was like, I know this. I've heard this exact riff before. Where have I heard it before?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's from a part of Glass Prison.
Right.
But like, here's the problem with like progressive metal and like, you can't really claim that someone is like, oh, they plagiarized something like this, because I feel like the odds of, as a progressive metal band, accidentally repeating something a different progressive metal band has done is way higher, simply because the nature of the music means that every band after a certain amount of time has a metric fuckload of riffs because every song is just loaded with riff after riff after riff and they don't fucking repeat, which kind of makes them not riffs.
Right.
Because that's what a riff is. It repeats. But like,
well, yeah, kind of
like
and I feel like their song on here, Grab Me Over, is
Grab Me Over.
Yeah.
Is that the name of it?
Very similar to a Dream Theater song.
Oh, I was like, that doesn't sound
that is not a track.
Because also, I mean, kind of like their albums themselves, most of their song titles are like one word, fairly simple, simplistic.
Yeah, like Megalopolis. Part 1.
God damn it. Megalopolis Part 1.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the subtitle of Metropolis Part 1. It's like the Dream and the Sleeper. No, something in the Sleeper. The Sleeper and the Miracle, I think, or the Miracle and the Sleeper, or something like that. Fucking Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Passages from a Recollection. Instead of scenes from a chapters from a recollection,
right?
Instead of scenes from a memory. We'll talk more about Baroness.
How you been?
Yeah. Oh my God, you cut me off.
I did. I cut you off, and I want to know how you been, my friend.
You want to know how I've been?
Yeah. How have you been?
I don't know.
okay.
I've been
okay?
I've been doing okay, I guess. What have I been doing? Basically nothing. I
Sounds great.
Yeah. Did I, by this point, by the time we recorded last week, did I have my I ordered an SSD, a solid state hard drive,
right?
To use for gaming because like my current external or my previous external hard drive was not a solid state drive, and so whenever I would like play games off of it, it would
just constantly spin, or
well, no, it wouldn't constantly spin, but it was just like lately I have noticed for a lot of games. It is just not sufficient. Like I would have like really long load times, and like textures would take forever to load in and pop in. So I figured it was time to get an external solid state, because I have an internal solid state for my computer, but it is almost full.
Sure.
I don't think I have like any games installed on it. I need to like clean it out. Basically,
sure. Is it like a 1 terabyte or is it?
I think it's 1 terabyte. It might be smaller than that though. But I need to do some maintenance on the internal hard drive, because there's probably a bunch of junk in there that I can just get rid of.
Yeah.
But in any case, I ordered it, and they gave me the wrong one.
Really?
The wrong one arrived. I ordered it was like a C10 or a X10 or something like that. I can't remember the thing. And they gave me the 9 instead of the 10.
Really?
It was still an SSD from the same company and the same manufacturer, just
same amount of memory, or
yeah, it's still 1 terabyte, just one further down. And here's the type of person that I am.
Yeah.
I can't be fucking bothered to send that shit back and wait another week. It's basically the same thing. It's fine.
See, I have a solid state 4 TB for my station to play, which, by the way,
still doesn't work.
Still doesn't work. I haven't turned it. It won't turn on. I don't know what I've done to it, or what.
I don't know.
The problem is.
Have you taken it somewhere?
Okay. Well, a number of times it's done this specific thing, and then I take it over to Rock 30 Games,
and then it starts.
It's fine.
Because you threatened it.
Yeah.
And because your PlayStation wants to make you look like an insane person.
Right. So at this point, this would be like the third time you taking it over there. I'm gonna take it over and go, hey, remember me?
And it's gonna start. Fucking, it's okay. This shit makes me. I'm a very skeptical person. This shit makes me believe in like Gremlins, or like some Adeptus Mechanicus shit from Warhammer, where the machine spirit is angry with you for some reason.
Right.
Like you haven't supplicated the machine spirit. You haven't said the correct hymns.
The machine spirit is like, why haven't you finished this goddamn game yet?
Why haven't you finished fucking Elden Ring? Like, yeah. Have you thought about like sending it to your son-in-law?
Oh, I guess I could.
Maybe he could figure something out.
Because there's a few things I need to send to my son-in-law.
Yeah.
Both the
controller?
No, the
Switch.
Switch. I have 2 switches I need to send to him.
Yeah.
One of which won't charge, and the other one I don't remember what.
So maybe you could send the PS5 along with it, and I mean it's going to be more expensive because Jesus Christ, they're fucking massive. The PS5 is huge.
Yes, it is.
It's a absolute brick. But
especially mine.
Yeah, I mean they've come out with or they are going to come out with a slimmer version.
Yeah.
That is, for whatever reason, does not come with a stand.
Really?
The new version does not come with a stand to stand it up vertically like the previous version did. Although you won't need the stand to lay it horizontally, which the current version, it's not like set up to just set it on its side without the stand.
Awkward. I did that for a while.
Yeah.
I set it on its side. It looked like maybe it had fallen over is all it looks like, because it's weird shaped.
You're supposed to use the stand. You can orient the stand to have it sit horizontally as well. I never, for whatever reason, I mean, I've alternated on this back and forth with my consoles throughout the years, but for the most part, I think I have generally gone for standing up my consoles vertically. Right. The exception being my Xbox One, which has been gathering dust on my desk for an incredibly long time, just because I haven't used it. But like that, I have had sitting horizontally, but that's mostly because my speakers have sat on top of it for a number of years.
It is itself a stand.
Yeah, it is. It is the thing I put my speaker on top of,
right, over
on that side of the desk, and then there's a couple of thick books on the other side that I set my speakers on top of. Hi. I wonder if that was audible in the microphone.
I could hear it over here, but maybe it was just through the air.
There's a cat that wants my attention. Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's a new smaller version of the PS5. But maybe you could send that off. Maybe he could fix it. I don't know.
Maybe. Or I mean, because they said they could fix it too at Rock 30, but they would charge me.
Yes.
So I don't know if it would be the same amount of money to have it shipped and then shipped back.
Yeah.
As it would be to just take it to Rock 30 and have them stick a new part in it.
Yeah, I don't know about these things. All I know is my cat needs to not rub her face on the corner of this vinyl.
Right.
I have the vinyl record of this album here. Sitting in front of me.
Last week?
What?
You bought it in the last week?
I bought it not this most recent weekend, but the weekend before it.
Gotcha.
When I had a couple days off and I was depressed after I finished Baldur's Gate 3.
Right. You needed something to fill that hole.
I went and I made some purchases to try and soothe my soul.
Right.
After finishing a video game, because
and it wasn't whiskey.
Because boy, these problems sure are first world up in here.
They sure are.
These problems really matter in the in the scope of things, don't they?
Right.
No. But back to the hard drive that I bought. The main reason that I bought it is because recently they finally did like a major update to Warhammer 40K Darktide, which is the co-op shooter that came out almost a year ago that has kind of been in bad shape ever since it came out.
Ooh.
It was it was riddled with bugs and problems when it came out. People generally considered it to be missing a lot of features, and also it ran like absolute dog shit off of my old hard drive. Oof. I would have like sometimes 10-minute load times going into and out of missions, which is not what you want in a multiplayer game.
It is not.
It was really, really bad. And so it's off of this new hard drive. It is much improved. And they also recently, like part of the big update that they did recently is they completely overhauled the way all of the classes in the game work.
Sure.
They provided a lot more like skill customization options and that sort of thing. So that's kind of gotten me back into it, and I'm having a lot more fun now than I did before. I mean, part of that I think is just the improved technical performance, but also a part of that is the various different skills, and I feel like they've reworked the way some of the challenges work, so it's not so easy for players to get in each other's way. Like that was a big complaint when the game came out, is like you would get challenges to give you like extra stuff, and it was really easy for players to for like other players on your team to completely accidentally, because they're just playing the game too, to like cause you to not be able to complete that challenge because of stuff that they did. And people will get like pissed off and be like, why did you do that? Obviously, so I was trying to do this thing. It's like, how the fuck am I supposed to know you were trying to do that? Like, I'm also playing the game. There's, in case you haven't noticed, there's 8 trillion zombies in front of us. Like, we're all trying to survive this match. So it feels like there's a little bit less of that, and things are a little bit more cooperative and a little bit less toxic than they were. But I also don't play the more difficult missions because it's actually genuinely kind of a hard game.
Is
like
it really?
It's not a super easy game. Like I'm pretty fucking good at Deep Rock Galactic at this point.
Yeah. Even
though I still don't play like the highest difficulty on Deep Rock. Like I've only done that a couple of times. I just kind of prefer to relax. But like I feel like I'm pretty good at that, and like I know what I'm doing in that game, and I know how to play every class. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing in Darktide. The game mechanics also feel like way more complicated, and there's a lot of stuff they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Like there will be like, oh, this applies this status condition. and then not explain what the status condition is or does. Like, how am I supposed to know what that is or what it does, or how am I supposed to like I have to go look this shit up on wikis that were written by people who basically hacked the fucking game to find out what these skills and perks do.
Sure.
Like the developers are still not doing some stuff that they ought to be doing.
Not being forthcoming.
Their relationship with the community has never been good, because every community manager that they put in charge of, like, especially like talking to people on Reddit, just seems to be an asshole and like have no respect for anyone who plays the game. Seemingly, at least anyone who isn't willing to like blow smoke up their ass the entire time.
I feel like that might actually be just the general feeling at Games Workshop. I feel like that just
well, it's not Games Workshop,
isn't it?
It's well, that's who develops Warhammer in general.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's a different.
That's the tabletop game. I mean, they're the owners of the IP. They don't make video games.
Oh, so it's not coming out of there.
This is an actual video game developer. Are your headphones not working?
Yeah, well, I keep losing the left ear.
Oh.
So yeah, but I feel like,
this is a studio called Fat Shark.
Okay.
That previously developed Vermintide, which was a Warhammer fantasy game.
Sure.
Based on the same sort of principle of like, it's Left 4 Dead, but you've got classes. And also it's set in a Warhammer setting. Like it's very similar.
Gotcha.
And they're not only repeating some mistakes that they made throughout Darktide or Vermintide 1 and 2, they're doubling down on them and making them worse. The main thing that they've made worse is like their monetization and microtransactions. And like the thing that really pissed people off recently is they released a series of cosmetics, to premium cosmetics to purchase with your real actual money.
Like some blush, some rouge, some eyeshadow.
But they do the classic thing where you can't just buy the fucking thing with dollars. You have to purchase their premium currency, and you can only do that in specific blocks of money. Specific blocks. You can't, buy unit by unit. You have to buy 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000. And so then what they do is they make the cosmetics cost smaller. It's the hot dogs coming in packs of 10s and hot dog buns coming in packs of 8 problem.
Right. Yeah.
It's that same bullshit. And so what happened is anyone who pre-ordered the game on PC got a bunch of this premium currency.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were holding on to it for a specific like cosmetic pack. And the one that they released to go along with like the player update was the Death Corps of Krieg skins, which is this famous Imperial Guard regiment that are like extremely World War I flavored. Everyone's wearing gas masks. They have like the crested like French Hadrian helms or whatever they're called. They're all wearing like great coats and stuff. Like it's a mix, like the name is German, but they're a mix of like all of the different armies in World War I.
Gotcha.
They have a very cool aesthetic. And so people were like, this is the one I'm going to spend my premium currency on. And if you pre-ordered the game, they gave you, I believe, 100 units less than what you needed to purchase the entire pack.
That's annoying.
Because they're shitheads. The microtransactions in the game have been like heavily criticized since day one. It's a pain in the ass, but I've just kind of decided to not bother with it. I don't need to purchase this. But then because I'm a fucking Warhammer fan, I'm like, but man, if they put out a Tanith First and Only pack.
And did they?
No. Although it makes sense that they would, because whatever plot the game could be said to have, which it kind of doesn't, like they've been promising extra story content for an extremely long time.
Yeah.
And it's not there. But whatever story content the game does have was written by Dan Abnett, who is the guy who wrote all of the Gaunt's Ghosts books, which I'm currently listening to at work.
Those are good ones.
I greatly enjoy that series so far. The most recent book that I have gotten through was a slog It was a bit of a slog even to listen to. It's a weird, like a really weird confluence of things where like the plot is kind of a slog and there's multiple contrivances to make things like feel like World War I, despite the fact that it's 38,000 years in the future. There's like this planet where like they've been fighting this war for an extremely long time and their level of technology is weirdly low. And the Imperial Guard gets called in to help. And it's like a whole weird thing. So you've got that like grinding misery of like World War I trenches.
Sure.
And then you add on top of that for whatever reason, Toby Longworth sounded like he was half asleep the entire time up until like the last couple of chapters. I don't know if it was just like the first thing he read that day or like. I mean, it's a 10-hour book, so like sure. you know, I was assume that's multiple recording sessions over multiple days, but like he sounded really tired the entire time, and it was like he was adding to the atmosphere of misery the book already had, because like all the characters are tired and miserable, right. Like.
Maybe this would sound better if I just hit my weed pen heavily.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah. But yeah, it's I've done some reading online, and apparently a lot of other people find that to be one of the less enjoyable parts of the series. But like, you know, for me, like I'm binging my way through these books and listening to them on audiobook instead of like reading them on paper. So that tends to make things easier. Like it's I think that just goes for all media. Like binging stuff can make less bearable parts of television shows much more bearable. Like I remember how miserable season 2 of The Walking Dead was to watch as it came out week by week.
Right.
Like that got so fucking boring.
That was the bottle season, right? Where they're all just at the farm. They're
just at the farm for the entire thing. And like 75% of the episodes in a very long season too are just them kind of doing fucking nothing. And like there's like one issue every episode that needs to get brought up. And it's like that was extremely boring and frustrating to watch on TV because it's like, when is something going to happen?
Max and I are still watching that, by the way, because he's seen a couple episodes ahead of me, and I asked him, I said, who's your favorite character in the show? He says, well,
Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn is my favorite character. I said, oh, cool. Yes, you should really be attached to him.
Yeah, just like really, wow. I decided to move for once, and the headphones I was holding perfectly still for a very long time, and apparently I was the linchpin holding that entire headphone system together. Anyway,
so there's that. I also recently, last night, just finished watching Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, that's that new Mike Flanagan show? Is it? I don't know.
Mike Flanagan?
The showrunner, writer, director? I don't know. What's it about? What is it? I don't know what it is.
It's about the short story written by Edgar Allan Poe.
I'm not familiar with the short. I mean, I know who Edgar Allan Poe is.
See, he was this writer.
Yeah, I know.
In the 19th century. He lived in Baltimore.
I know who Edgar Allan Poe is. I'm not familiar with. I don't think I've ever read an act like any of his. I think I've read Telltale Heart, and that's it.
I think you would enrich your life to a great extent by diving in a little bit, at least, to more Edgar Allan Poe. It's about a family, and then they're sort of cursed.
Is their last name Usher?
It is, and it's weird because
does Ludacris show up?
No, but Usher does.
Oh, cool. What about Justin Bieber? Is he in there?
No.
Somewhere? Okay.
But they put a lot of Poe references, and I mean it's a 6-episode season, and there's not going to be a second season.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is a Mike Flanagan thing, because he usually just does like single season shows.
Yeah.
Follow the House of Usher drama miniseries. It is.
Is it Mike Flanagan?
Yeah, directed by Mike Flanagan.
It was really good. It in the last episode. They got kind of preachy. It was all stuff like, well, yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
I've heard that kind of happens in every one of his shows.
Yeah, like in the last episode, and in fact, because I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but I mean, you kind of know what happened. I mean, the house. if you've read the short story, the house literally falls in on everyone at the end of it.
Oh, okay.
At the end of it. So you know that's coming, unless you haven't read Edgar Allan Poe, like some sort of a cretin. But I mean, she talks about, I mean, there's a curse, and then they're immune from any impunity, you know, for their entire lives because of this curse that ultimately will do them in. And she says, you know, one of my clients, we're not sure who this woman really is. Maybe the devil, maybe death embodiment. But anyway, one of my clients, I even made sure that even if he shot someone on Fifth Avenue, he wouldn't be in trouble for it.
I'm not making a connection there.
That would be a Donald Trump reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he said that. I wouldn't lose any voters if I walked out and I killed someone on Fifth Avenue.
I see. I mean, he's said so much absolutely like fucking wild bullshit. It's all this, like, I can't recall.
It's a blur.
It's all a blur.
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't be able to recall any of that, but I see. Yeah, I see what they were doing then.
Right.
I've heard that kind of happens in a lot of Mike Flanagan shows where like the end gets a little preachy and fumbles a bit.
A little bit. It was still good. I give it a thumbs up.
He also did a show, I believe, called Haunting of Hill House. I think that was him, as well as a show called Midnight Mass.
Oh, sure.
That was also well regarded. Stars an actor that I like named, or one of the stars of the show is an actor I enjoy called Rahul Kohli, who streams on Twitch on occasion.
He's
and
also in House of Usher.
Oh, cool. I think he's just become an actor in Mike Flanagan stuff.
Yeah.
He also does the voice for the because he is a Warhammer fan, so he does the voice for the main Space Marine in Bolt Gun, which is the Doom clone game that came out earlier this year. And he was in Gears of War 5 as well. But he's a big video game guy, very funny as well.
Yeah, very funny,
extremely funny guy. But shall we move on to Baroness?
He really loves cocaine in this show.
He really loves cocaine. Maybe he really loves cocaine in real life. Who knows?
Who knows? What's not to love?
So other than a sexy G.I. Joe character, Baroness is also an American heavy metal band.
Right. They went on tour with Snake Eyes for a while, I believe, didn't they?
Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander was there too.
Yeah.
Hello. We are here to play some heavy metal for you.
Good evening, Cleveland.
But yeah, like we said at the beginning of the episode, Baroness is an American heavy metal band from Georgia. They've been around since 2003. They were formed at the time from the members of a previous sort of punk band. And switched to a more heavy metal sound. Currently, their lineup has changed multiple times. The primary, I think the only remaining original member is John Baisley.
Yes.
Who is their lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist, as well as the guy who does all of their amazing album art.
Right, all the booby art.
Yeah. So the thing that I knew Baroness for before I picked up this album at the record store the other week, the thing that I knew Baroness for is that band that always has naked ladies on the album covers.
Pastel naked ladies
on the album covers. And there's always like plants and vines and birds and animals. And there's a lot of layered symbolism in every single one of their album covers, but there is always naked ladies, which has been distracting because I decided to put the vinyl in front of me. So there's just boobs there. There's just boobs. But it's all amazing art. It's all really good art.
It is.
John Baisley's a good artist, and he has done album art for a number of other bands as well. But since they got started, he has done all of their album art. He is joined in their current lineup by Gina Gleason, who is their lead guitarist and backing vocalist. She has been with the band since 2017.
She is awesome.
She is very good.
Yeah.
She's a very good guitarist and a good backing vocalist as well.
Very good backing. And I know she does a lead on the second track on this, and it is fantastic. Again, there's a comparison
to be made.
It sounds
with
like Dirty
Mastodon.
Behinds a bit.
It does sound a little bit like Brent Hines a little bit.
But damn, she's good. She doesn't really do much other as far as lead work on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of I don't know. Like, yeah, there's not a lot of other like really big standout solos. That one kind of like sticks out and is very memorable. But her voice reminds me a lot of Reba Myers from Code Orange for some reason. They both have kind of a more kind of a deeper singing voice. I don't know the different registers well enough
she's
to
an
say.
alto.
An alto, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know them well enough to say confidently, but a deeper singing voice for a woman anyway. But meshes very well with John's lead vocals.
Who occasionally, again, making the comparison, sounds a little bit like Braun sometimes.
Yeah, he does. I mean, they're like it's as a Mastodon fan.
Yeah.
It's hard for me as someone who has not listened to as much Baroness as I have listened to Mastodon. It's hard for me not to make the connection. I mean, they're both from fucking Georgia, for God's sake.
Sure.
Like it's hard to not make the connection. They both have relatively similar history. Although I think Mastodon, I don't know if Baroness has ever particularly played music quite as heavy as Mastodon once did.
Right.
Their styles, I think, have kind of converged into a similar sort of space. I think Baroness has kind of always been in that space.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't really gone back to listen to their earlier stuff. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm done with that.
But like Mastodon obviously started out playing much more aggressive, much heavier music.
Right. And then the sound has gotten more refined and matured over time.
Refined and matured and gotten more progressive, gone with more rock influences as time has gone on. I feel like it's also, I think if you're a fan of like Neurosis, you'd probably also enjoy Baroness.
Or a fan of Yes.
If you're a fan of Yes, maybe you'd enjoy Baroness.
I mean, that's progressive rock.
Yeah, I feel like Baroness is fairly easy to recommend to a lot of like just more.
Hey, I like rock music.
Yeah,
what should I listen to?
Like rock fans. It's like, hey, this is slightly heavier, but it's there's a little bit of like shouted vocals on here that again sounds a little bit like Troy.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Sounds a little bit like the way that Troy does those vocals these days. So it's hard. It's hard to not make those comparisons. Yeah, and also having beautiful album art on all their albums, like. If I was really gonna get into it, like it's like I could get every Baroness album on vinyl and have another shelf, have a Baroness shelf and a Mastodon shelf, and that would be beautiful. That would be gorgeous.
Yeah, you have a Savannah shelf and an Atlanta shelf.
Exactly. Although doesn't Troy live in Savannah?
I don't know, maybe.
I think because he has a beach house,
That's true. And Savannah is on the coast.
I think Troy lives in Savannah. I think everyone else still lives in Atlanta.
Every time you see an interview with Troy, he's sitting by the beach in a hot tub.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he lives at least somewhere on the coast. Yeah. But in any case, this album, would you say it slaps?
Yeah.
I would say so as well. Yeah, it definitely slaps. There is like a through line of this sort of softer acoustic song.
It's almost like folky kind of.
Yeah. So places. Embers, The Dirge, and Bloom all are kind of refrains of the same sort of.
They're almost like a palate cleanser of sorts.
Yeah. And like this through line of this same song and sort of this uniting theme. I haven't looked super hard into the lyrics to see if there is any sort of concept to be found in the album, or if it's just sort of more unifying themes.
I suppose you have the regular my deluxe. I was listening to the deluxe version. Yours ends with Bloom, probably.
Yes, mine ends with Bloom. The deluxe version has a bunch of live tracks on it,
which they're good live.
I would imagine so. Yeah. I would imagine they're pretty good live. Yeah. I feel like there is there's sound. I don't know if they produce their own albums. I think they publish their own albums, or publish is probably not the right word, but they like distribute. They have, I think they have their own label. It was self-produced by the band.
Sure.
And not that it's a negative thing necessarily, but this sounds like one of those albums that would be self-produced. Do you know what I mean by that?
But it works.
It works.
It works really well.
It works. Yeah. It works for their sound, but it's like there are certain things that are maybe a bit muddier and maybe not quite as clean as like a separate engineer might do it.
Right.
Not that is a bad thing for their sound, because they come from a sort of sludgier, doomier sort of background, and that's what fits for that type of sound. I think they would lose something by being a bit too clean and clear.
I've noticed something, by the way, with FirstCom. FirstCom is one of the places where we get music for production, doing commercials.
Yes.
And I've noticed one thing they've started doing lately is they have 3 versions of each track. It'll be the high definition version, the cassette version, and the record version.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can choose, and I've been choosing the cassette versions of a lot of stuff from FirstCom.
I mean, why not?
Sounds cool.
I feel like they, or I think it's Universal Music now is what they are.
Well, it is.
It used to be FirstCom, but my problem with them is I get option paralysis, because I feel like they do not do a good job of like organizing and collating their music in a way that is useful for me as someone who just needs a 30-second track to put under a fucking commercial.
Right.
Like
there's 10,000 things. I don't need 10,000 things.
Like, just give me our other service that we still have, BDP,
right?
has a much smaller library, but it is also, in my opinion, much more well organized, and much easier to navigate through. And they have like a whole, like, here's the retail section, and underneath the retail section is a whole bunch of different moods, and different moods and themes that can fit for. And like the website kind of looks a little hokey.
It does,
but it also like, it's much easier to navigate. It's much clearer what this is like, what something is, what it will be good for, and what it's probably going to sound like. Right. And it saves you time instead of having to sit and scroll through 50,000 different albums where it's not really clear what it's actually going to sound like.
Like in the last week, of course, obviously one word I've been searching for on both those media sites is
Halloween.
Yeah. You put that in there, and from Universal you get 6,000 different things that might be Halloween. And this one's in a minor key. Well, okay.
It's not quite what I want.
Yeah.
Versus on BDP they just have they have like a album or a like folder that's called like seasonal / holiday, and then they have an album underneath that is for Halloween specifically.
And click, done, we're good.
And it's like, there's only like 20 tracks in there.
Right.
But it's local radio. How much do you need? Like you don't need 5,000 choices. No one is paying that close attention where they're going to go, I heard that on a Halloween track last year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you need medication then.
You're paying too close attention. You need a different hobby, because you obviously have one, and it's paying too close of attention to radio ads. You need a different hobby, like listening to Baroness.
Yeah.
This album, perfect segue. Nailed it. This album, I turned back into Cobra Command.
Nailed it. I got the segue right.
This album has a 76% on Metacritic. Generally, it was pretty well received by critics in general. And I think I would agree with the consensus. I think it deserves maybe a little bit higher than a 76, but 75 up to about 85 is where the vast majority of things tend to fall, as we've noticed many a time.
If anything gets enough reviews, if something gets like their mom reviewed it,
exactly,
they might get a 95%.
Exactly. or it's the second coming of Jesus Christ on audio, which it has happened. I mean, there's some albums that deserve a 95, and they get that number from many reviews. There are some albums that are just that good.
Recorded by Jesus Christ.
It was recorded by Jesus Christ on. I was trying to think of some sort of biblical recording format, and there's nothing.
Papyrus?
You know what the record received though?
What?
Instead of it getting a gold record, it got a myrrh record. That's a South Park joke.
Oh man, I come up and stop at frankincense with this one.
Cartman starts a Christian rock band at one point, and when their album does really well, they're extremely disappointed to find out that instead of getting a gold or platinum album, they receive frankincense and myrrh or something like that. It's a very old episode of South Park as well.
Right.
What's your favorite song on this album?
I think my favorite song, if I can, come on, stop. Everything's flagging me over right now. I think Last Word I really loved a lot.
Okay.
Either that or I really like Choir.
Choir is very good. I had trouble choosing because I've listened to this album like 3 or 4 times.
Right.
I still had trouble choosing a favorite song. Part of that is because 2 of those times I listened to it on vinyl, and it's difficult to keep track of what song is what. I ended up choosing Magnolia.
Oh, sure.
I really like the sort of slower, more acoustic opening, and then things open. It's a very me song to choose. It's also like 7.5 minutes long, so it seemed like it had all the hallmarks of a song I would choose as my favorite.
Sure.
So I decided to just pick that one because, hey, why not? I don't think there's a song on here that I dislike.
Right. No, there is not.
So that also makes it a little hard to choose like a favorite because I enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, like the harmonies on those 3 tracks.
Yeah, those 3 like acoustic sort of folk tracks.
Acoustic, yeah.
Acoustic. Yeah. John Cusack. Stanley Kubrick.
Right.
What medal are you bestowing upon this like Maz Kanata to Chewbacca, you think?
I think I give it a high silver. I mean, it's right on the cusp for me.
Yeah. Fuck it, I'm giving it a gold.
Cool.
I'm gonna give it a gold because I think I want to. I mean, I'm gonna listen to it again because I spent $30 fucking on it.
on a piece of round plastic.
I have it on vinyl,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna listen to it again at some point.
Yeah.
But also, I have an urge now to listen to more of it.
Sure.
And at the very least to collect more of it. Like if I go back to the record store and I see another Baroness album, I'm buying it.
Even their disco album?
Baroness's famous disco album.
Right.
Yeah, I'll pick that up. But yeah, I mean, like I considered buying Baroness albums multiple times in the past when I was at the record store because I've seen like I saw Purple I think a couple of different times at the record store, and part of it was just like, wow, that's incredible album art. If for nothing else, it would look cool on a shelf, but also the music is really fucking rad. So
win-win.
I feel like that's the way I've gotten into a couple of different bands. Like I remember I saw like a Facebook post from the record store, and that's how I learned about Finnish doom metal band, the name of which I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
Where's Sun? No, not
Sun. Sun's American.
Are they American? Finnish doom metal.
I can't remember. The album I got anyway was When a Shadow. Oh God. Everything is escaping from me. Brain fart. When a shadow is forced into the light, swallow the sun.
Swallow the sun. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how
what I was thinking. It was Sun. Maybe
that's how I learned about that album. Is like I saw them like leafing through like new arrivals. And I saw the album art for that. I was like, that's fucking dope. I need that. And I think that's just a good way to collect vinyl, is just like, does that look cool? Mm-hmm. Give it a spin.
I've done plenty of that. In fact, I'll go you one better. I've actually gone to when I was a kid, I went to the cassette store
back in my day.
And if I saw on there that it was the right record label, also that Tipper Gore was pissed about it. Mm-hmm. That's like
a parental or not parental guidance.
Advisory sticker.
Parental advisory.
So yeah, if I saw there was this is from Combat Records. Oh, it's parental advisory. I'm spending the $6 on this.
This is from Earache.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let's do it. Metal Blade. Hell yeah.
I've never heard of this band, but they're my favorite band now.
Now they're my favorite band. Speaking of favorite bands, which one of your favorite bands are we going to talk about next week?
Well, you know what? I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. It's an album that came out like 2 years ago.
Okay.
This is probably going to irritate the shit out of you.
Of course. Okay.
The album is called Techno
by
Electric Callboy.
What the fuck? You know, is this a metal album?
It's metal. But also it's dance music.
Okay.
It's electric core.
Oh no. The vast majority of my experience,
electronic core, I should say,
fusions of electronic music and something called core have not been favorable.
Well, I'd like you to give this a listen because I've listened to this album a few times now, and it's like, I hate to say it,
but you like it.
I actually kind of like this. I got a text message from a friend of mine who lives in Bismarck. He says, please tell me you guys have talked about this on the podcast. I'm like, I've never heard of this. And then I listened to it and I'm like, oh, Kale's going to hate this.
See, this is what I love about our relationship on this podcast. Is I bring albums that I'm like, man, OJ's gonna like this.
I do that too.
Yeah, but then you on top of that are like, Kale's gonna hate this one. But you know what? Out of the two of us, I am the one with a much more limited taste in music.
Sure.
So that's the way it's always gonna be.
Because I'm old. Yeah. I've been listening to music since well before your parents were born.
You have a much more well before my parents were born.
Yeah, I was listening to music back in the 50s.
Back in 1957. I mean that's the way it's always going to be. Basically, it's like you have a much more well-rounded taste in music than I do. So there's going to be things that you enjoy and that you bring that I might not enjoy, or maybe I will be surprised, and maybe that's what will happen next week. Maybe I will enjoy my time with Electric Callboy.
Yes, they had to change their name
assuming
recently.
The price is right for this Electric Callboy. They changed their name recently?
Right, because somebody pointed out they were called Eskimo Callboy.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody said, can you not?
That's kind of not great. Yeah. That's kind of
fine.
Kind of an outdated term.
Right.
And mildly was never accurate, I think.
Right.
Next week, Electric Callboy. What was the album?
Techno.
Okay.
Which it, for the most part is.
Is it like techno, one word as in like technology, or is it tech-no?
No, it's one word.
I thought maybe that would be kind of clever.
TEQNO. Or no, I don't know. It's not spelled that way.
Okay. So until you hear from us then, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our podcast feed on whatever service you're using to listen to us right now, or maybe go ahead and follow us on social media, Facebook, or the other thing that the one that's owned by the spaceship guy.
Yeah,
that one, whatever
Amazon.
It's called these days.
Music, yeah.
Follow us on Amazon's social media platform.
Right.
I'm shocked Amazon doesn't have a social media platform.
Yeah, that is weird.
Honestly. They shouldn't. I don't want them to, but I'm shocked they don't already.
Don't we have too few social media platforms available right now?
So,
All right.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. I'm not going to be able. I shouldn't have put this in front of me because I'm just going to be looking at boobs the entire time.
Tack that onto the end of the.
There we go. I put the album art because I have it on vinyl, so I just put it in front of me just to have like a thing to like point out, and also like at the record store.
Yeah.